What up, guys? Mad Scientist 7890 here. Gonna do a response video to kyle9965 about Hulk Hogan resigning with TNA. But before I do, I wanted to mention about the JCW t-shirt I had in the last couple of videos I had on. Yeah, that's a joke t-shirt. Yeah, I got that as a joke. So, yeah. If you don't know the story about it, hit me up. I think I talked about it in a previous video. I used to wear it to like Ring of Honor shows and like indie shows, and people used to give me all kinds of trouble for it. But I got it as a joke. Absolutely hate Juggalo Champion. Shit wrestling. It's horrible. Would never waste my time with it ever again. But like I said, if you've never heard the story, I can't remember what video it's on. It's way too long to explain. But if you want to know about it, hit me up, personal message or something, and I'll let you know about the story about the shirt. But like I said, this is a response to Kyle. You know, you mentioned a lot of points on your video that I actually did not know. You know, about the point about Hulk Hogan making $35,000 an appearance. That is absolutely ridiculous to me. Absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe he makes that much money for an appearance. You know, it just pains me because you have all these independent guys from the independent scene coming in and are willing to literally work for breadcrumbs just for the exposure. You know what I mean? A lot of those indie guys who are fresh, are willing to just be on TNA and make a minimal amount of money because they want the exposure. They want to be known. You know, if they are more well known, they worked with TNA. Indie promotions all over the place will want to book them. And they'll make more money that way. They'll make more money off their own merchandise, and that happens. But unless you're going to be a huge star in TNA with and a lot of these X Division guys, newer ones, I don't see happening probably. Austin Aries maybe going to be pretty big for the X Division at least. But these guys not making any money. I think these guys are the real talent of TNA. Hulk Hogan doesn't do anything. He's just there to draw ratings, and he doesn't really draw ratings that much anymore. In 2011. I do not care about Hulk Hogan. I do not care about Hulk Hogan. I didn't care about Hulk Hogan in 2005. I didn't care about Hulk Hogan in 2000. I don't care about Hulk Hogan. In the last 10 years, I haven't cared about Hulk Hogan ever. Ratings-wise, anything. People were all over that Rock versus Hogan match at WrestleMania 18. I didn't care. I didn't care about that match. Granted, the crowd was hot for it. The match itself was okay. It was fun. But I didn't care about it. I wasn't going into that show being like, yeah, the Rock versus Hulk Hogan's what I want to see. Going into Bound for Glory this year, Hogan versus Sting, could care less if it's on the card. This match they're going to have. Oh, I'm sorry, not match. Fight they're going to have because Hogan's not willing to take bumps because he literally can't wrestle. He can't offer anything anymore to the sport of wrestling. He can't do much of anything. They're gonna have this fight with Sting, for the company, over the company, saying he's resigned after Sting beats him, because it's gonna be obvious that Sting's gonna beat him. I'm gonna regain the company back or whatever it is. Where do you go from here? Where do you go from re-signing Hulk Hogan? And since Eric Bischoff's his right-hand man, what you think Eric Bischoff is gonna leave? No, Eric Bischoff will resign probably too. And it'll be the same thing the last 2 years. The ratings, like you said, will probably stagnate. They'll probably stay exactly the same. They probably won't get better. They probably won't get worse. They might get worse. They might get worse to the fans. The show probably will get worse. The ratings, maybe not, But it just makes me so upset. And then you mentioned, I was really upset to hear that you said that Madison Rayne works in a mall at a glass shop. I did not know that. That's crazy. If I was ever in a mall and saw her and walked up and asked for an autograph and a picture, nobody would know who she is because she doesn't get used very much. You know what I mean? Not anymore, at least. She's not making that much money probably, and it's just insane. When you said that, I laughed out loud because of how ridiculous I thought it was. I just couldn't believe that. To me, you work for a wrestling company that's all on television in a primetime spot on Thursday nights. What? Your talent's working at, that's just crazy to me. I can see a lot of your talent if they were working for, other indie promotions. You know, I know Madison Rain works for Shimmer and does some other stuff as well, but it's just, to me, just I can't believe, I just can't believe it. You know what I mean? Just the amount of money he makes. You said he makes approximately $2 million a year for the amount of appearances he does. That is just absolute nonsense. I wonder how much money he's going to make for this match with Sting. Oh, I'm sorry, fight. This fight with Sting he's going to have. $500,000 for one match? No, I'm sorry. He's probably going to go for Floyd Mayweather money and like $1 million or something for this one match. It's ridiculous. You know, I had thought about making one of these videos for a while now, you know, right after I heard about it. And, you know, for the most part, I am a passive person when it comes to, I'm not one of those people who screams and goes nuts and cusses a lot. You know, Quad from the IWR show, my boy, he's got that on lockdown. I don't do that too much. But the whole time that I was watching your video and you kept just naming off points of these things about Hogan and all this is the only thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to just pull my hair out. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do that. Because I can't stand the fact that he makes that much money and he doesn't do anything. And you got guys that are getting, like you said, quitting or getting fired, and you know, the young bucks who, you know, quit, and Lethal and Homicide and Red, and man, it's such a shame. It really is such a shame that, you know, these guys have to leave for Hogan's wallet to get fatter, and he doesn't do anything. You know, he doesn't do anything. And some people can't, you know, say, oh yeah, he draws ratings. But when you said, you know, his retirement ceremony was one of the lowest ratings in TNA and like forever, you know, since they've been running, you know, Hogan and Bischoff have been running it. That to me says it's time to go. It's time to get out of here, buddy. Do something else. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not doing much of anything for me. You know, and like I said, I don't know any of this stuff about Hogan. It's crazy because you named all these points. I didn't know because I don't care about Hulk Hogan anymore. You know what I mean? I just wanted to do this video because of how upsetting and sick to my stomach it makes me that he resigned and he's probably still going to be making the same amount of money. You know what I mean? Just it's so upsetting. You know, and I recently, because I you know, was going back and I was watching shows I hadn't seen in a long time. And this is not a TNA show. This is a show I've never seen and I keep hearing great things about. Was ECW's Heatwave '98. I just watched this recently and absolutely love the show. Maybe one of my favorite shows ever. You know, I don't understand why we have a guy like Hulk Hogan in here doing nothing when we could have a guy like Paul Heyman come here and redo this whole organization, give it a whole new flair, and just kind of reinvent this company. You know, as I was watching that ECW, I just was like, man, why doesn't just Dixie Carter give this man Paul Heyman what he wants and get rid of Hogan? You know, and you know, I know a lot of people would agree with me on this, but it's crazy. It's crazy to me just how ridiculous it is, you know, how much money he makes. Like I said, this is a response video to kyle9965. If you haven't seen the video, I'll put a link in the description for you, bud. Have people check this video out. It's good. A lot of great points, some stuff you did not know about Hogan, or anything, certain stuff with TNA, certain things I didn't know, for sure with that. And I'm definitely going to hit you up, Kyle, on that strawberry shortcake, whatever you were eating. You let me know what that is, because we got some pretty good strawberry shortcake here in St. Louis, and I'll try that if we have it here, and we'll debate, all right? Because I know strawberry you know, I know it. I know my strawberry shortcake. So hit me up, Kyle. Good video, and I just want to do this response, like I said, and just be mad. Just be mad about this. Just everyone. I just hate Hogan. Ugh. See you guys.